Assalamu alaikum wa barakatuh, brothers and sisters. Why discipline is stupidly easy and you don't need motivation for this. The motivation is actually going to get integrated into this, but this is really simple. And this is the way that I found myself most effectively being able to be disciplined, make discipline easy. I actually feel motivated to do these things for long periods of time, and in a way, always be motivated to do the thing that outs the performance that I just. My name is Kevin Prosperity, and this is one of my first 50 videos. My first 50 videos are my practice videos, and I'm trying to honestly educate, but it's more for me. So I'm trying to learn myself on how to really make YouTube videos, how to speak and whatnot. So honestly, I really love some good feedback. I don't mean to hold it out for too long, so so now to get things started. The problem is this: you go online and you research these things about discipline and motivation, how and why we do these things, why we feel motivated, and why that like motivation doesn't last that long, why we need to actually, you know, be disciplined, like discipline only. Don't worry about anything else. Don't worry about, motivation. No, motivation's bad. No, this and that. And you can see this primarily sort of with just like in general, all overall self improvement, where they speak about say, don't do this because if you do, it makes you hard to be disciplined and you only work during these short bursts of motivation and whatnot. And this is all very practical advice. In all honesty, I think that the reason why it even started being like that was just more centered around the idea of, you know, motivation isn't a key component in long-term success. It is discipline that ends up being the thing that, you know, keeps you going. Not just doing it one time, two times, three times, and you stop. That's very much true. But there's a certain way of utilizing motivation. And by being able to utilize this motivation, you mix it in with discipline. So I think instead of us separating it, like, hey, let's separate both of these things. Disciplines is all, and motivations is all. We can actually find a way to mix both of these things. And when we mix both, it becomes perfect. It's like a cake, you can't just have flour and eggs. Oh, let's mix the flour and the eggs and then get them back. So this is gonna lead me on to my next point. My next point is in the idea of why this is spread and why that this is a problem. The only reason why this problem arises is there's so many point of views. On one end, you look at it and someone's saying, you know what, it's actually good to look for more of that motivation, so stay disciplined. On the other end, there's someone that's like anti-motivation. No, no motivation, just be disciplined, be like some rock. That's a robot. And I think that what I fit in is what I'm going to get into later into this video about how you can mix both and get into that level, the natural things and actual solutions that will help you. But I think it's just overall online, it spreads so much because I don't know why, but this is a very confusing space. Hey, no, yeah, be motivated, but at the same time, don't rely on it. But then at the same time, don't even be motivated, just be disciplined. Oh, discipline's really hard. How can I even be disciplined? Because someone's telling me that I shouldn't even need that motivation to get started. How can I be consistent? You just think it's too much. It's too much. It adds up, it adds up, it adds up. You don't really even know at the end of the day what you want and what to go for and what to seek. With me, when I was into this whole productivity, discipline, motivation part of my life, and searching for it, I was confused. I didn't know what to do because I think that motivation and discipline always like also fits with consistency. I'm pretty sure you can be disciplined enough to brush your teeth, but not disciplined enough to go do a 5 hour gym session. So the problem is you're adding a concept that varies depending on what you do. So we have to go down to these internal things, and these internal things is what I like to get into next. So now, this is what you all been waiting for. Okay, how can I make being disciplined easy? Now I'm gonna speak on what my personal experiences were, what personally helped me out. One thing is, this is in the book Atomic Habits. You want to make the easy things the disciplinary things, and then make the hard things the bad habits. So instead of you having to use mental energy to directly be able to prevent yourself from doing the bad thing, just already set it up because it's easier for you while you're motivated, to set making the bad habit harder. Then, okay, leaving the bad habit as an option and then just having to rely on your willpower in the moment to avoid it. This can come down to very simple useful things, like, for example, instead of just being like, I'm gonna use social media less, if you know that the social media isn't actively good for you, just delete the social media. So instead of you being the discipline to not use that at a certain time and that, really look at it and be like, okay, let me delete it off my phone. Now, if you notice that, okay, you're trying to reduce it, you don't want to eliminate it fully, you can do things like, okay, let me delete Instagram off my phone. And I can only use Instagram by going on my laptop. Now you're adding these extra variables to it. Now you have to go get your laptop, open your laptop, search up Instagram.com. You have to log in, and it's like not as, I guess, appealing. And overall, it's just less appealing to have to, like when you're on Instagram, like laptop, like so straight, and you're going through it, you're not going to be as hooked to it as compared to you laying in bed on your phone. So one of the main things with me was the biggest caveat, to be honest, was this. I'm this big guy that I really cannot do. Like, if I do set something aside for later, it becomes 10 times harder to do. So even if it's like, okay, as I'm a Muslim, so I want to pray. If I choose to delay the prayer, not even to the point where it goes for me to miss the prayer, like it's Duha, which is the afternoon prayer, to Asa, which is like before the sun rises. I mean, before the sun sets, but like after afternoon prayer, like midday. When I was, like delaying it, so it was still hard, but it wasn't like right as the prayer was called. I just noticed it was way harder to do. So, the things that made me delay it were the things that I'm pretty sure the majority of us do have, say problems. And for me, it was honestly social media, waking up, notifications, phone, this and that. And what I realized is you actually don't really need the discipline to do these things. The problem was I was aiming towards, okay, I need discipline to pray. The thing is, yes, you do need a level of discipline to pray, but it's so easy that, like, it's not a problem. We can't really say that's discipline, because discipline is the idea of doing something that you don't want to do, regardless. What I noticed was all I needed was the discipline to avoid the first bad habit of the day, which is what we kind of call eating the frog. The concept of eating the frog is doing the harder things first, just to get them out of the way, so you're free for the rest of the day. This is kind of simple, but it's sort of like instead of you aiming to do an action, you're aiming to not do something, which is that bad habit. So as a whole, if you're able to get rid of these things, these distractions, and things that use your mental energy at the beginning of the day in the first place, then it just makes it way easier to do the things like the rest of the day. So, if I woke up, use my phone for like 2 hours, while my PlayStation played like again for 2 hours, I ate really bad food, and it's like midday, I'm probably not gonna like the things that shouldn't be that hard become way harder because I'm not in that zone. So you know what I'm saying? I'll have to use a lot more willpower and overall mental energy during the activity because I'm gonna be tired, I'm gonna be sluggish. So even if I'm able to get started, then it's just harder to complete. Now, if I woke up in the morning, and when I woke up in the morning, I just got to it right away. And the actual action just easy. That's how I started my day. But now we gotta look at why can you not do it in the morning? Why can't you do it right away? Why is this a problem? Because now what we did is we took these things that we want to do, but we made them so easy to do, or like just something that we're so just least used to doing that we don't really need that much discipline. The kind of discipline we need this. We just have to take out the bad habits and distractions out of the way, and that's the only thing we actually need discipline for. Because here's the truth. I always used to wonder how were people able to stay so consistent with the gym or so consistent with these actions and that action and whatnot, or like just doing anything. I'm like, okay, they definitely get dopamine from it, but how is it like the dopamine from actually do equate to these things that we get this quick, easy dopamine from? Is what I realize is in a way, there's this idea of dopamine addiction. The people who are more dopamine addicted can actually have a better time with the structure of taking the bad things, the bad dopamine out and replacing it with good things and good dopamine. Because what you tend to see is the actual dopamine levels are like the same. Because all you're doing is just replacing that source of dopamine. So you don't see that like quality of life and when you feel decline, only it's up because the idea of the instant gratification, delayed gratification, you're getting that delayed gratification while just setting that thing aside and waiting for it to get the delayed gratification to feel it later. And honestly, yeah, when you do the action of being able to take the distractions out, that's the only thing you just look for. So I don't have to look at it as okay, tomorrow I have to go to the gym, I need to pray my prayers, I need to be healthy. Because you're taking all of it in at once. Like the truth is yourself, you as a human is gonna do the action in the moment. And this is a good and bad thing. It's like, okay, doing something fun, you're enjoying the fun thing in the moment, but doing the annoying thing, you're doing it in the moment as well. But for what it is, you're not praying 5 prayers, eating healthy, and working out all at once in 1 hour, 10 minutes. You don't spread out throughout the day. But the thing that even makes it bigger than that is how you start it. Because of that, the only thing we need to worry about is not what I'm going to do tomorrow, how I'm going to do it, but taking out the main distractions that affect me. And for all of us, it's different. With me, it was my phone, using Instagram Reels, TikTok Shorts, music, this and that. It was really my phone. My phone was the biggest thing that was affecting this. What I noticed is, as soon as I just took it out of the way, which I personally did, was I deleted all social medias that I had any outlet to. I like even deleted my music apps because as a Muslim, I'm trying to get better to not even listening to music. And so, you know what I'm saying? You can have periods where you do this. I do it with like a work where I kind of need this, but you can use the color filter to make your phone. It's just great. There's an app called OneSec. And apart from that, there's just so many more solutions that you can do to get these out of the way. You use the phone example. To be honest, if you're anything like me, that probably is a big problem. But it's really just about making bad things so hard to do that you don't want to do it. And honestly, eliminating them as a whole in the beginning. It's like if, for example, if you don't, like your goal is to mainly not use Instagram as much, but then you realize that there's no upside to using Instagram, just then delete Instagram. Like, you don't have to put yourself, because the problem is when you add this goal of let me just not use it as much, you're putting this like path of mental power that you're gonna have to use to stop doing that. I like to look at discipline and willpower as like, a kind of a video game. You have this special ability that charges, and the more you use it goes down. That's how willpower and discipline is. Instead of having to use that willpower and energy into things that are like not that important, because at the end of the day, it'll probably be more beneficial for you to pray and go to the gym, opposed to, hey, yeah, let me not use Instagram as much. Yeah, that's probably a good goal, but it uses a lot more mental power than it needs. Like the benefit of the mental power you use to the benefit you get from that mental power is not a good correlation. the truth is, it might, like, if this was the mental power that you need to not use Instagram or social media, this is gonna be the mental power. Like, it doubles, like, doubles, that's okay. This is the amount of mental power you need to go to the gym. This is the amount you need to not use Instagram. It's like, you see how it's not that much more? Obviously, it's more, but not as much. Then what happens is, okay, you use your social media app, but your mental power is still going down because it's still using energy, still scrolling, using energy, just using, like, your mind is still using the energy. So now what happened was the action of going to the gym in the morning is like this. This is just how it is when you don't use one baseline, you kind of just whatever. Now after you eat that food, use the PlayStation, play some games, use the phone, lay back, relax. After when you decide to do these things and start your day, instead of it being like this much willpower, it becomes like, bro, this much willpower. Like, it, like, I would say triples. Like, this is what it is. It's this now. That much willpower right there, like this. So we went from using one hand, now I gotta use two hands to explain the level of the situation. So instead of it having to, you know what I'm saying, be this, we can always keep it like this. You know, it's always in that range. It might change. One day you're feeling really good about it. It might be like this. One day you're kind of, no, but it's like this at most. By just taking out the distractions, the things that get into the way that you have your mental powers for, if you just get those out of the way, you'll make your journey a lot better, you know. I'm not even speaking on the behalf of necessarily getting rid of bad habits. And you know what I'm saying? But I'm talking about the things that are so simple, yet they do so much to you. You know, like my phone is something really simple. You wouldn't think it would be that bad, and then it does that. That's what it leads to. Thanks for watching, and once again, click, you know, anywhere on the screen to watch my latest video. And feedback for this video will be really appreciated. Have a good one.